Okay, so if you've ever read The Fault in Our Stars, you know that feeling, right? When you get to that last page, it's not just the end. It feels like a real goodbye. You've been on this incredible journey with Hazel and Gus, these two super smart teenagers who find love in a cancer support group and navigate all the beautiful, funny, and just gut-wrenching parts of life. But what if the conversation didn't have to stop there? That's what we're diving into today, a companion workbook that promises to take us way deeper, helping us unpack the language, the themes, and all those huge questions the book leaves you thinking about.
And isn't that the truth? The best stories, they don't just entertain us for a little while. They kind of become part of who we are. They just stick around, like these stars in the sky. And with a book like this, that feeling pretty much always comes with a question. Exactly. That's the big question. So, how do you keep that feeling alive? How do you keep the conversation going? Well, this workbook we're digging into today offers a pretty amazing way to do just that. Let's see how it gets started. So, our journey starts with the absolute basics, the words themselves. The workbook makes a really good point. Before we can even think about tackling the huge themes, we've got to get a handle on the unique and, let's be honest, sometimes tricky language John Green uses. And it kicks things off in a really practical way. Take an idiom like the sword of Damocles. Now, the workbook points out that for Hazel and Gus, this isn't just some fancy literary phrase. No, it's their actual reality. Just understanding that one simple idiom adds so much weight to every single thing they say to each other. And this is a perfect example of how the workbook makes it all interactive. It's not just throwing a list of definitions at you, it turns it into a matching game. You get to connect phrases like Swiss cheese or Hoosiers to what they actually mean. It makes the way the characters talk feel so much more real and easy to grasp. It's just a super clever way to get the novel's voice inside your head. All right, so once we've got the language down, the workbook takes us to the next level, figuring out the deeper symbolic stuff. And this is where the story really starts to crack wide open. And here's a really fascinating idea the workbook brings up. Nothing in the story is an accident, especially the names. They are absolutely packed with hidden meaning about power, about intimacy, and about how relationships evolve over time. I mean, just look at this breakdown. When Gus uses her full name, Hazel Grace, it's his way of claiming a special kind of intimacy. When she calls him Augustus Waters, well, that's her version of that, a bit more formal. And that simple shift to just Gus, it shows everything about his vulnerability. Even places get special names, turning them from just spots on a map into major moments in their story. But it's not just names. The workbook points out that books and words are everything in their world. I mean, think about it. An Imperial Affliction isn't just a novel they both happen to like. It's the whole reason their adventure even happens. It's the catalyst. Literature is the language they use to try and understand everything. Love, fear, life, all of it. So after digging into language and symbols, we finally get to the summit of this whole journey. This is where the workbook really challenges us to face the huge philosophical questions that beat at the very heart of the novel. And right here is where things pivot. It stops being just about analyzing Hazel and Gus. The goal now is to use their story like a mirror and start asking questions about our own lives and what we actually believe. This is probably one of the book's most famous lines, right? And the workbook makes you face it head on. Do you agree? Is the world really not a wish-granting factory? It's a tough one. It really forces you to think about your own dance with hope and disappointment. And then there's this one. Wow. Think about that for a second. Does loss turn us into someone completely new? Or does it just strip away all the extra stuff and show who we've been all along? The workbook asks you to think about how grief has worked in your own life or in the lives of people you know. It's a really powerful moment to just pause and reflect. And finally, we get to the last part of the journey, the return. This is where the workbook helps us take everything we've just explored, the language, the symbols, those big questions, and really truly make the story our own. I absolutely love this exercise. It's called My Jar of Words. The idea is so simple. Just become a collector. Go through the book and find the quotes, the phrases, the words that just hit you, and you keep them. It's such a beautiful way to make the story a permanent part of your own toolkit for navigating life. This brings that whole theme of naming right back home. We saw how huge it was for Hazel and Gus, and now the question is turned on us. What about in your own life? Are there nicknames that hold a special kind of power? It's such a great way to connect the book's big ideas to your own personal story.
And we end on this, maybe the biggest question of them all. Gus is obsessed with his legacy, right? With leaving a mark. But Hazel, she seems to offer a different way. So the workbook leaves us with this to chew on. What does it actually mean to live a full life? Is it all about the impact you leave behind, or is it about the richness of the experience itself, right here, right now? There's no easy answer, and honestly, that's the whole point. The conversation just keeps on going.